Okay, Bellara. What's your lead on getting us a fate expert for the team?
Good evening.
Greetings.
Rook! So, we need a fate expert. I've been writing to a senior mage who fits the part. But right now he's on an expedition, so I reached out to his colleagues to find him. This is Lady Myrna and Vorgoth. They're necromancers. Mourn Watch ones, I mean.
Your friend's request for a fate expert was urgent. How darksome are things outside Navarra?
Very.
I see. Bellara's correspondent is Professor Emmrich Volkarin, a fate expert and powerful psychagogue.
You will need him.
Where can I find him?
The professor is currently delving the shrouded halls in the Grand Necropolis. We will grant you passage to look for him. Where the dead. Lately they grow restless.
This is it. But no sign of the professor.
I hope he's here and that he doesn't mind us disturbing him. He is a senior necromancer. I don't... Oh!
Visitors! What a marvelous surprise! Any trouble with the lift? Our last guests were stuck for hours. Poor souls. Oh. Professor Emmrich Volkarin of the Mourn Watch.
Hello, Professor. We've never met. Well, in person, but I've been writing to you.
Bellara, my dear girl. What a pleasure. Surely you didn't come all this way just to see me.
Actually, we did. You see, we need a fate expert.
I'm Rook.
Charmed.
I liked that bit with the flaming skull.
It's nothing, really. Just an evocation of the flame of the last steps.
It looks great.
Thank you. You know, I'm never quite sure how these spells strike someone from outside Navarra. I'd be pleased to continue our conversation after I tend to some small business here. I must investigate. Would you two mind accompanying me further into the shrouded halls?
Toward that screaming?
Something's gone awry in this part of the necropolis, Rook. The dead stir more easily than they should.
Oh, wow. I've never seen anything like this. Are these warts?
Indeed they are. But what's caused the aphotic needles to fall into a slumber?
Oh, I'm pretty handy with artifacts. I can take a look.
That would be good of you, Bellara. Your friends and I will press on.
Right, Professor. Good luck.
Movement up ahead.
Strange. These halls should be under the protection of the bell.
Is that a despair demon?
Fascinating, isn't it? They shouldn't be able to breach the shrouded halls at all.
Take your word for it.
It's vital we discover why that spirit manifested here.
Lead the way, Professor.
Someone's barred the door and chained the sunken star.
There's undead here.
We may need to defend ourselves, depending on their condition. I must free that bell.
Need some help?
Thank you. The star, the bell, can banish these despair spirits if we unchain it. We'll need a wisp to unseal the doors leading out. Could you please find one and bring it here?
Okay. How?
Give your greetings, and the wisp will follow.
Hello.
Wisps are the simplest of spirits, but quite helpful. Bring the wisp here, and we can unseal the doors.
Doors open. Where to now?
This should lead us to the upper chambers, where we can free the bell. There's someone I'd like to consult with on the way.
So, Professor,
Just Emmrich, please.
you weren't that surprised we need a fade expert.
The spirits talk. Even the simplest have been clamoring about chaos in the Fade. Someone coming to consult wasn't an if, so much as a when.
All that ice. More magic?
Echoes of the despair spirits, misery devouring itself. We should keep our distance. If provoked, these manifestations will shatter.
This is locked too, and I didn't see any wisps around.
Then I shall call for aid. They've answered. We'll need to guide the wisps who've just arrived to the door.
Those wisps really came just because you asked.
They care for us, Rook. Our ever-loyal friends amongst the dead. Strange. This door shouldn't be here.
Shouldn't it?
The necropolis rearranges itself every so often.
Here's our second wisp.
Calmest spirit I've ever seen.
The peace of the necropolis is a balm to many of its inhabitants.
Must be nice.
Ah, yes. I've noticed you've company.
There's the last wisp.
Good. Let's return to the door. Well done. Past these chambers, we'll find some assistance with reaching the bell. Despair is far more pervasive than I'd thought. We must stop who's ever drawing these spirits here, Rook.
You think a person's behind all the despair demons?
Oh yes. Mortals are their prime attraction.
How do we get rid of all these despair demons?
Their source is near the bell you saw earlier. Ringing it will banish them, but we must find who lured them there in the first place. Tell me, Rook, where are you from?
I grew up in Tevinter.
Our cousins in Magecraft to the north. You must tell me about your journeys once we're above ground. Ah, here we are. This is where we'll learn who summoned these despair spirits.
But how?
You must open yourself to possibilities while in the necropolis. Would you mind lighting those braziers, Rook? This should unseal our final pass to the bell. It's best we unchain it quickly.
Then what?
The sunken star will drive away despair. Any malicious spirit that hears the tolling of the bell will be banished to the Fade.
Any malicious spirit?
Unattached ones. Your own companion will be safe.
Ah.
Excellent. Approach the body and we'll begin. By seal and flame. Who brought despair in our midst? Despair! Who brought it here?
Venatori!
The Venatori. Of course. This way, please.
What did you just do?
The colloquial term is corpse whispering, a gift that manifested with my magic.
Talking to corpses with magic.
Honestly, I've no idea how the other Watchers navigate the necropolis without it.
What are the Venatori after? Gold? Artifacts?
Raw magic. Their first envoys were obsessed with gathering power for some new masters.
Ah, I'll fill you in on them later.
I see someone by the crates.
I don't think they're Venatori. Hello? Did the Venatori bring you here?
They said I'd spilled the wine too many times. That I'd be a better sacrifice than slave.
You are in Navarra, sir. There are no slaves on our soil. Please remain here. After we've seen to the rest of the Venatori, I'll send for someone to escort you above.
All right.
Those Venatori dragged that man down here just to die.
The Watchers will shelter him. We'll inquire if he has any family in Minrathous.
I know people in Minrathous who would help with that. Just say the word.
Thank you. We'd welcome the assistance. As for the Venatori, what remains of them will be put to work. The Sunken Star can help us if we break the Venatori's chains.
Right. That's the last chain.
We must return to the lower level to ring the bell. Be ready. The ritual to wake the bell will draw Despair's attention.
And any more Venatori.
I'll need you to keep them occupied while I work.
There's the Venatori. Emmrich, now what?
Now, the Grand Necropolis shows itself!
No more despair demons. It worked.
Pretty impressive.
Thank you, but come, let's ensure these cultists didn't leave anything dangerous behind. I'll ask our attendants to gather their bodies later, of course.
And this is a severed hand.
It can't be. A hand of glory? The Venatori should never have this. I must find out where it came from. Let me know when you'd like to return to the chambers above.
Let's get back to the lighthouse.
You can tell me why you've sought out a Fade expert on the way?
I know it's a lot, but I swear we've seen the blighted elven gods ourselves.
It would explain recent Oniric disruptions.
At the least. The implications of what Rook's witnessed are... Ah, thank you, Manfred.
No one ever brings me tea after a slog through a haunted crypt.
My assistant, Manfred. Always thoughtful.
You spoke of danger to the Fade.
The elven gods plan to tear it wide open to get to the blight. And they've already messed with it. Demons, tears in reality. Our team needs a Fade expert.
Many Watchers never depart Navarra. But with events so dire,
I'd be delighted to assist.
It has been many years since you left us.
Well, yes, but elven gods, ancient magics. I couldn't bear miss this. Besides, I've spent my life exploring the Fade and speaking to spirits. If Rook needs an expert, none are better qualified than I.
Only if your assistant's coming.
Manfred? But of course!
Welcome aboard.
Wonderful! I'll gather my things. Come, Manfred!
The Grand Necropolis was at peace again, and Emmrich was off to a new adventure. But in Navarra, nothing stays down for long. The Venatori had unearthed something no one should have, and delivered it to the worst possible person. Emmrich's journey would soon bring him face to face with the gloaming lantern.
A third edition of the Unnameable Elements? I didn't even know it had editions.
Oh, it's much improved with the index. Please, borrow it if you'd like.
I'd love to. Oh, Rook, you probably wanted to say hi. Thanks, Professor.
You look moved in.
Just a few essentials. Manfred was a great help with the boxes. What a fascinating place this lighthouse is. What do you make of it?
I think I like it better with a necromancer in the place.
Do you?
Especially one with experience.
I must be sure to live up to expectations.
Did you get the tour yet?
Oh, I've been exploring, but I noticed a few of the others taken aback by Manfred, and I overheard remarks about my skulls. My necromancy won't cause any undue worry, will it?
No way!
Ugh.
But a few people might not get it.
Oh, I'd hope to make a good first impression.
Bellara's excited you're here. Everyone else just has to get to know you.
Please excuse me. Manfred and I should finish our inventory. Thank you for stopping by. By the way, Rook, before I left, Myrna and Vorgoth asked if we could assist with an outbreak of hauntings across Thedas. They also mentioned displaced wisps in the necropolis. I'm not sure what's frightened them, but it bears investigation.
Hauntings and scared wisps? Let's look into it.
Thank you. We'll depart for the necropolis whenever you're ready. Rook, hello. How thoughtful, Rook. The view of the Fade here is marvelous. I can't believe this room wasn't taken. There's still so much to discover here. I'm sorry, but I find it completely unnatural.
I don't get why you think cremation's so bad. Everyone outside Navarra burns their dead.
All those lost vessels. Fine mansions reduced to ash. Manfred, for instance. How would his wisp have fared if I hadn't given it a body?
Where or who do you get his body from?
There was no single donor. The arms were recovered from a charnel pit. The ribs were a gift from a dear friend. And Manfred's wisp picked out his own skull from some donations. That was quite the day. He's been fine company during my necropolis excursions ever since.
What does Manfred understand exactly?
Simple things, but he grows. Spirits of curiosity are voracious learners. The more he experiences, the more sophisticated his conclusions. With guidance, of course.
If I say, good to meet you, will he get that?
Manfred's alert to the sentiment, certainly. I encountered him as a wisp in the necropolis years ago. A simple spirit, but so curious. He refused to leave my side.
So, you built a skeleton for the spirit to live in?
Spirits are formed from the emotions and desires of people in the mortal realm. Manfred's wisp came from curiosity. It's these spirits which animate the dead. Their drive revives the corpse, yet the corpse colors their actions. Thus, the eternal question, are undead inhuman spirits puppeting a body, or does some shade of the departed return?
It's got to bring back a little peace, at least.
That's my belief as well. I swear I could see it sometimes, Rook. A glint of recognition of something more in the dead.
Hey, that's my sleeve. Are you trying to steal my buttons?
As well as a certain mischievousness. Manfred.
Emmrich. Have I got this right? Manfred's a wisp?
A wisp of curiosity, to be precise.
And this wisp was so curious about our world, it just couldn't wait to come here, animate a body, and serve you tea?
Manfred enjoys boiling the water. He's mesmerized by the steam.
Are all curiosity wisps as friendly as Manfred?
Yes, indeed. But there is some danger if they become more sophisticated. There's the curiosity that leads one over a hill, and the curiosity that kindles a house fire.
Is that where demons come from?
Only one of their many origins, I'm afraid.
So, does Manfred have, people, thoughts, and feelings?
His self-expression may be limited, but Manfred is as cognizant of his surroundings as you or I. To a certain degree.
No, I know. It doesn't make any sense, but it works.
Wouldn't the connection to the lyrium cause...
The veil to rupture? Not if you're careful. Really, really careful.
Rook, good to see you. Bellara was telling me about one of the artifacts she calmed. Her manipulation of the Hylic spheres put some circle mages I know to shame.
Oh, that's so nice. Really?
Bellara, repairing the Illuvian network alone is worth a thesis.
Have you run into anything like it before?
Not at all. The principles are familiar, but the application, the finesse... Though admittedly, my interests lie more with the spirits. Look to Bellara for elven magic expertise.
You were here, what, 5 minutes? And you had that thing fixed?
And it's quite a complex mechanism.
Well, thank you.
That said, I've noticed you working at all hours on that artifact.
Really? I don't think it's all hours.
And you're either the first to wake, or you simply aren't sleeping some nights.
Thank you, Professor, but I'm fine. Mostly.
You don't seem that certain.
Well, when you're in the Fade, there's no sun or moon. So I tend to lose track of time. Just a little bit.
So you sleep more regularly outside the Fade?
Well, sometimes. Maybe. But we're in Solas's old home. There's so much to learn.
And we've time to learn it. But in order to do that, you must take care of yourself.
Emmrich's right. Relax. Sleep. You'll work better.
I try, then I start to think I should be doing something. Anything. Then it's 3 hours later, and I'm even less relaxed than I was.
Perhaps I can help you.
With what? Relaxing?
Yes, I can teach you some breathing exercises, the ones we show initiates.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Of course. We must look out for one another.
And thank you too, Rook.
Anytime.
Okay, I am going to relax. Right away. But first, I had another question.
I thought you might. Rook, interested in visiting the Memorial Gardens?
What are you up to?
I must tend to some rites in the necropolis. It should be peaceful and quite undisturbed. You'd be most welcome company. Thank you again for coming. My duties include tending to these rites of remembrance. Excellent. Manfred found his way down. Very good, Manfred.
He sounds excited.
I thought we'd start the rites here. A tableau of the dead, commissioned 173 years ago. These lives were flickers against the ages, precious, fragile, and finite. Now they serve as a warning. Don't linger overlong in the gloom. Live with grace and fervor while you may.
No one's gonna seize the day for you.
Just so. That one's livelier. Here. Who were you when you breathed above?
This body was a tailor's, a mother's. She laughed and taught and wove the robes kings wore when they were crowned.
Someone must realign her thoracic vertebrae. I hope the novices are inspecting the displays.
Seems disrespectful to abandon something you built.
Precisely. No wonder there's been an uptick in hauntings.
Wait, what?
Let's continue.
So what now?
We light candles in remembrance of the dead. Would you care to light the candle, Rook? Look at this. The last tomb of the Tannhausens. A very influential family in the Storm Age.
We broke the bones of dragons.
A posthumous motto. Their last heir met his match against a Highland Ravager.
Death by dragon? I'm surprised there was enough to bury.
Do you know, I never expected that the door we found back in the Vault of the Beloved would lead here.
So the necropolis actually shuffles its rooms around?
From time to time. Very unlikely to happen while we're inside a chamber. Could you light the next candle? Aha! One of my favorite flowers! A variegated weeping widower.
You know your plants.
Alchemy is my hobby. It's a break from teaching spirit calling and theoretical applied metaphysics.
Bet you'd love some of the books the Shadow Dragons liberated from a few magisters.
This way, Rook.
You were right about the gardens being peaceful.
The necropolis has its dangers, but these places are a refuge for the dead.
How many people are buried here anyway?
Excellent question. We rarely should take a new census.
Examining the graves?
You'll need to light these candles as well. Open your hearts to the final day, companion of all the ages. I was pleasantly surprised by your respect for our undead tableau earlier, Rook. I'm beginning to think people outside Navarra find the necropolis a little unnerving.
Shadow Dragons are used to weird architecture. More skulls here, though.
The spirits gather. Only a few more candles. Follow me. Ah, look here!
Hi? Should I say hi?
It's curious about you. We're also enjoying the gardens, but with one last ritual ahead. On your way, my friend.
Spirits really are your specialty.
I've always had a rapport with them. Even as a child, they were my companions.
After you started training here?
After I was orphaned.
Oh.
A collapsed building, swift deaths. After the funeral, the Watchers took me in.
Belated condolences, if that's worth anything.
Always. We move on, as we must, but those long nights linger about the shadows.
How did you deal with it?
I didn't. When I first arrived here, I was terrified.
And you still joined the Watchers?
They're what saved me. Come, the next set of graves lies ahead. Please, light the next candles if you would. There's much to recommend about the rhythm of a ceremony. It eases our worst hours. As a boy, the Watcher's rituals were exactly what I needed to steady my days with purpose.
And some death magic?
Well, every young mage needs a speciality. All this pageantry, this magnificent gloom and its rites, I ask you, Rook, what is it for?
It's gotta be the living, right?
Yes, exactly. This place is an abundance of history, of magic, of memories. The Watchers preserve it so the living may draw comfort from those who've gone before. We must get to the candle, please, Manfred.
You told Harding that Manfred used to be a wisp until you gave him a body?
Yes, he's taken so well to it. Haven't you, Manfred? Here are the last candles you'll need to light. Once you're ready, we'll need to ring the bell. Let the rites be acknowledged. Our bonds seen and sealed. We honor the listening spirits.
Hail from the abyss.
We witness, good Watcher, faith kept in all our paths.
What was...
The necropolis hosts many spirits. We thank these guardians for their protection and friendship. We'll need to ring the bell once more to close out the departing ceremony.
So you were really afraid of this place as a child?
It wasn't the necropolis itself, but what was draped around it. Have you ever been frightened by the thought of dying, Rook?
Hasn't everyone from time to time?
When I was younger, it happened more often than that. That's when I discovered I possess a great terror of dying. It goes beyond dread. Can't be reasoned with or soothed over. It comes without warning. In the dead of night, in sunlit streets, a raw, strangling fear struck somewhere deep past the heart.
That's an issue for a necromancer.
Oddly, I discovered I wasn't alone. I debated this fear with friends. I argued with teachers. Yet, it lingered. Manfred's right. That's maudlin enough. There are struggles, but a watcher should always find peace amongst the graves. And what sort of host would I be if we didn't end with some light refreshment?
Did you set all this up to make a good impression?
Of course not. I was only...
Because it's working.
Then it's my pleasure to share the tranquility of this place with you. With all my regards, but I don't want them to think me homesick.
Hi, Emmrich.
Rook, hello. Just composing a few letters. The other Watchers have been most interested in our adventures.
What's the Grand Necropolis like?
Its majesty has stilled the tongues of kings and queens. It's a haven for spirits and the dead, a vast well of history, the duty and shelter of every Watcher. We who serve it are pledged to an eternal vigil.
What do Watchers, watch for?
There are stranger and more dangerous things than spirits in the Fade, Rook. The Watchers stand against them when their shadows rise.
Anything lately?
A few portents I cannot put down solely to the chaos of the elven gods, but nothing definitive, perhaps only shivers in the void.
So, I've heard people call necromancers mortalitasi. What's the difference between them and the Mourn Watch?
Oh, all Navaran necromancers are mortalitasi. The Watchers are a special order within them.
Very fancy.
We've certain privileges and attendant responsibilities.
What's the Mourn Watch do?
Our first duty is safekeeping the Grand Necropolis and preparing the funerary dead. Another is stopping misuse of dark magic and necromancy.
Must keep you busy.
Not often, but on occasion.
I couldn't help overhearing the word homesick.
Oh, I'm fine. Completely absorbed in our venture. But if I were home, I'd be preparing for new students or requests to speak to the dead.
You didn't stop teaching just to be with us, did you?
I'm long overdue for a sabbatical. Besides, do you know how many students the faculty wanted in my class next season? 10! How's one meant to tailor separate lessons for 10 pupils at a time? Honestly.
Can people just ask you to show up for some corpse whispering?
Oh, nothing official. There are very few of us, but we help here and there. Questioning a victim of murder, clearing up disputed wills, and sometimes fetching back last words from a loved one.
You can get anything out of the dead and they just let you leave Navarra?
My gift has limitations. The dead only know what they did in life. What was clear under the sun is sometimes blurred when I revive them.
Makes sense.
Honestly, some conversations aren't worth the trouble. Death encourages obstinacy.
Good to chat. I'll let you get back to your letter.
Before you go, I wanted to thank you for your company in the Memorial Gardens. There's another ceremony I have to perform there. If you'd like to visit again. Not yet, but soon.
You know I can't turn down spending more time with you.
How lovely to hear you say so. I'll always be glad to show you around the tombs, my dear. At your pleasure.
I'll take you up on that.
Wonderful. Until then.
Hi, Emmrich. You've got a guest.
Ah, Rook. You remember the Hand of Glory?
Hard to forget. You figure out what those Venatori who broke into the necropolis were doing with it.
The hand is how they broke in. The simpler undead are blind to its bearer when its tapers are lit. Sadly, only a death mage could have provided them with this forbidden necromancy.
If they're helping the Venatori, that has to stop.
Agreed. I've made some inquiries. This man is one of the death mage's victims. If he knows where this rogue necromancer is hiding, my corpse whispering will give us the answer.
That's a bad way to die.
The other watchers are attempting to find his family, at the least. I must warn you, it will be harder to coax answers from this poor man than from the dead I spoke to in the necropolis. Let flame rekindle your sight. Let breath and light rise again.
Who did this to you?
Eyes hidden, dust and gold.
Give us a name.
They come for this one. The spirits shriek. They come.
A name?
Blackthorn.
Return to your rest.
Not a flinch. You really know what you're doing.
Experience is the greatest teacher, and an open heart to what the spirits need.
I bet not every necromancer looks so dapper when they're working, though.
You choose the most extraordinary moments for compliments.
Is that bad?
Quite the opposite.
Back to the topic. Does Blackthorn mean anything to you?
Blackthorn Manor is an abandoned country house outside Navarra City. Our victim mentioned spirits. If they've also fallen prey to forbidden magic, they'll need our help as well. Let's depart for Blackthorn when you're ready. I'd like to speak to the necromancer behind all this.
So, Blackthorn Manor. Let's hope that necromancer working with the Venatori is around.
There's a malaise amongst the spirits here. Some form of confinement. This must be the place.
Right. So why'd we bring that?
Oh, it's essential we have the Hand of Glory.
I'm just grateful you know what to do with it.
It's a fascinating piece. The magic laid upon a Hand of Glory is complex. Whoever killed its donor left their mark.
So it'll lead us to whoever cut it off?
Precisely. Most likely the necromancer who's been helping the Venatori. It would have taken extraordinary skill to layer the involutions on this artifact. What a waste of talent.
I like how passionate you are about your work.
Death is one of the primordial forces. It breaks bonds as it lays the ground for the new. At times, there's something stirring about the elegance of it.
That's quite a way of putting things.
I always choose my words carefully. Forbidden necromancy can twist spirits. We must find this death mage and stop whatever they've done to them.
Well, if there's a rogue necromancer here, they forgot to lock the door.
The Hand of Glory's magic points inward to the northeast.
Let's go look.
This place is almost as weird as a magic hand.
These sigils. They can't be.
I've seen similar spellwork in Tevinter.
Our rogue necromancer has hidden something terrible behind this door.
Can you open it?
The door's seals are drawing on magic elsewhere in the manor, fueled by suffering.
Let's put an end to that and get this door open.
The Hand of Glory points to the northeast and southwest. No! What have they...
And demons. Now what?
I must free the spirit bound here.
Emmrich?
Someone's been harvesting their terror. Their souls! How dare they? What are they Come, I can sense another spirit trapped here in the mansion. Look at the door. Freeing one spirit has already weakened its seals.
Halfway there.
Have you noticed anything strange about the Fade itself here?
It's agitated. I felt this in Tevinter around big works of magic.
The spirits press closer than they should. Another victim.
Demons too!
Can you free this one, Emmrich?
I must.
Emmrich, you okay?
Someone's been stealing the life, the essence of people who knew they were facing death. The effects persist, but the door we saw earlier should be unsealed.
Hope that necromancer we're after is behind it.
All the seals have been extinguished. Excellent. Let's open that door. Someone's torn a path into the Fade. It's imperative we find and stop this necromancer from keeping the Fade open.
Right with you. We don't need demons flooding the countryside.
The door's locked.
It's the work of that rogue necromancer. They're already blocking our path. We must find a wisp to open it. Onwards. The Hand of Glory still points the way. Necromancer has brought once helpless undead into the Fade as soldiers?
And a rage demon.
The way forward won't open until we defeat them.
That's the last of them.
Undead and demons. We're on the right trail.
Our rogue necromancer knows exactly where we are. Why have they gone to such lengths to drain power from spirits? Down there, more victims.
I don't see that rogue necromancer yet.
I suspect they're nearby. Let's inspect their handiwork.
Late as always, Professor.
It can't be.
But what else would one expect from Navarra's most eminent meddler?
Johanna Hezenkos.
You've met?
Oh, the Professor and I have known each other for ages. But only one of us realized the Watchers are no place for a mage with ambition.
So she's an evil watcher. That's great.
Only if she's beyond hope.
Spare me your sanctimonious bleating.
No. The stolen life in that lantern could permanently tear open the Fade here.
Correct. Only the foolhardy would shed blood near it in this state. So, let the Watchers mourn your pathetic death in the Fade, Emmrich Volkarin. Those that are left after my return.
No. What is she planning?
Emmrich, we okay to fight?
Yes, Johanna took the lantern away with her.
What did Hesenkos do to that spirit?
I'll try freeing it, but I fear the worst. Nothing. The spirit, its essence, is gone. Johanna's trapped it in her lantern.
Then let's find her. There's no way out.
What now?
The Fade always provides a way forward. We only need to search for it.
Then let's get looking. A candle? This wasn't here before.
Oh, let me think. We're in a receptive eddy of the Fade, and since Johanna's spirit summoning has already focused its mana, do you recall the ritual we performed in the Grand Necropolis? Concentrate on that memory.
You mean when we were lighting candles?
Find some more, and we can use them to leave this place.
Here's that last candle.
Excellent. Place them on the pedestals, if you would. We drift upon the echoes of the vast, eternal Let them form a new configuration. And with that...
Don't know if this bridge is even real, but I'll take it.
We must find Johanna once we're out of here. This rift in the Fade will lie open until we deal with her.
You insufferable nuisances! How did you get out so quickly?
Where's Hesenkos' voice coming from?
The Hand of Glory resonates. It's pointing to the main hall.
Let's go.
I can feel Johanna summoning hostile spirits. That portal into the Fade won't close until we defeat them.
But we still can't attack Hesenkos herself while she's holding that lantern.
The entire countryside would be torn apart in a maelstrom.
So you crawled your way out of the Fade?
It's not difficult for those who treat spirits better than tools to an end, Johanna.
Sentimental drivel. You may have stopped my work here, but Navarra City will know its new ruler.
We doing this or not?
A death wish. You and Volkarin must be quite the pair. Though the professor clearly avoided mentioning his old colleague in exile.
We made every attempt to bring you to reason.
I gave you every chance to join me instead of whining endlessly about your mortality. But I must thank you for returning something dear to me. Lovely to have my hand back. I'd exchanged it with the Venatori for some favors after entering this condition.
Johanna, what have you done?
What you never had the courage to.
For the record, I do not have a death wish.
Johanna's escaped again.
Want to tell me why she has no eyes?
Afterwards, Rook.
Emmrich, still sense anything wrong?
We were successful. Johanna's magic no longer changed the spirits, and the Fade is still.
Great. Okay. But let's talk back at the lighthouse.
At least we freed those spirits from their suffering. Shall we depart?
Let's get back to the lighthouse.
Gladly. Oh, the Song of the Chambers won't have anything on what Johanna's... Perhaps the Waking Scrolls? No. Manfred, have you seen the Fellmarch manuscripts?
Remember how I said we should talk?
Indeed. Johanna Hesenkos was a watcher. She was banished for embracing the darker paths of our art. Forbidden magic, blood sacrifice, nothing is beyond her if it leads to power, recognition, or both.
It sounded like you knew her before all that.
We were friends, once.
If it helps, you've got someone who cares right next to you.
That's very dear of you, but I'll be fine.
It's so cute how you're such a bad liar.
Things used to be much better between Johanna and me. She truly was brilliant, and we got on so well as students. We partnered on papers, rituals, research. Yet even then, Johanna considered the Watcher's oaths quaint. This isn't the first time we've crossed paths since she was exiled, but now I fear she's turned herself partly undead.
I'm having trouble picturing how someone becomes partly undead.
A skilled watcher can make subtle alterations. Hers are more extensive. You saw Johanna's Lantern of Unwilling Souls. A necromancer could create monstrous undead with that much stolen life.
Hesenkos was yelling a lot about conquering Navarra City.
We must stop her, Rook. Thank you, Manfred. Quite right. The Order's knowledge will see us through.
Hesenkos had been stopped. For now. But she had big plans for Navarra. City conquering, new ruler plans. And while she had some regrets about long-lost friendships, she knew her greatest invention was going to bring down the house.
You were holding her hand the whole time?
I'd no idea Johanna was involved when we found the Hand of Glory. Performing self-surgery. I pray she was already undead by then.
And now you've got a rogue hand on the loose causing trouble.
Well, that raises a question of independent will.
You mean, does Hesenkos' hand have a mind of its own?
The diabolical mind that spawned it is my main worry. We'll stop Johanna. We must. Ah, hello there. Just admiring how carefully the Fade is woven into this place, as cultivated as a palace garden.
That's old elven stuff for you. Magic everywhere you look, and also where you don't.
I do envy you, Rook.
Really?
A young rebel striking from the shadows against Tevinter's empire? Not to mention traveling with Varric. The adventures you've already had.
You cut a pretty intriguing figure yourself. Do you really think of me as some grand adventurer?
Well, something thrills at traveling with a daring young woman who's racing to stop an apocalypse. Especially if she's shown unexpected interest in a new companion.
I didn't expect to meet a compassionate necromancer, but I really like that about you.
You humble me. May I show you something of the greater Fade here?
Go ahead.
Close your eyes. Take a breath. Slow, deep. Be born on the great currents. See now as they see. When I talk to the dead, their echoes abide with me. Thoughts and passions, hopes and desires. The shades of death have greater depths than you may know, Rook. If your attentions go beyond charming flattery, that would interest me, indeed.
Let's see where it...
You finished the reagent. Excellent work, Manfred. I must tend to this, but I'd be delighted if we found each other later.
I don't understand why you're bringing so many books.
Well, I don't see what your objections are to my taking a canopy.
We're only going for 2 days.
You've hardly brought more than a flask and a bedroll.
Sorry, how many books are you packing for whatever this is, Emmrich?
Only a handful. Nothing irreplaceable, of course.
8. When will you have time to read 8 books? Emmrich wants to see more of Ferelden, so we're going camping. But he's treating it like we're going to an academic thing.
An expedition can have its earthly comforts.
You want to bring a shaving kit in the woods.
My dear Harding, a gentleman is never without a brush and a razor.
The whole point of going to the wilds is to get away from all that. So what if you get muddy and smell a little bad?
One can enjoy the scenery while remembering to bathe.
Harding, do you need to be so stringent when you're camping?
Yes, because you have to carry all the gear yourself. Up the mountain, across the creeks and things.
Don't you carry any luxuries yourself?
I bring my writing kit.
Aha!
Fine. Maybe your umbrella could come in handy.
I really have looked forward to you showing me more of your home, Harding.
Me too. Oh, and I'll make us sandwiches.
Ah, your famous ham and jam slam?
Well, yam and jam slam because you don't eat meat. So I'll use yams.
How thoughtful. Thank you, Harding.
Careful with that.
But of course.
It's the only lead I've got.
My dear Davrin, I'll be as careful with this cloth as if it were burial silk from the Storm Age. And this will be so instructive for Manfred. Ah, Rook, just in time.
The two of you together. This looks like trouble.
The beginnings of it, we hope.
That piece of cloth I tore off the Gloomhowler back at the cauldron still has some of its blood on it.
And now, through the application of necromancy, perfected by the Mourn Watch through years of meticulous...
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what the Gloomhowler is.
Rather, discern its nature.
How?
By setting it on fire?
Patience. To discern, one must sometimes destroy. Ah, yes, of course. How interesting.
What is it?
It says this was elven blood. This was a person.
What? But it howls.
A corrupted person. Not always a monster. And something else. Deathsel. I'm unfamiliar with the meaning.
An elven word for covenant, like a promise or a blood oath. I think I get it. An elf who took a vow, then gets blighted. An elf who knew about griffins and warden's secrets.
Almost as if...
It was a warden.
The Gloomhowler was an elf. How does that work?
Blood never lies.
Something else is going on here. I'll put out the word, call in favors, see who might know more. But thanks for your help, Emmrich. You, discerned well.
My pleasure.
Is that Zara Renata? This place isn't big enough to keep every corpse you guys find.
Zara spoke to Ilario before she died. Emmrich can talk to the dead. I have to know.
I wouldn't have offered my skills if I thought it was unsafe. Let flame rekindle your sight. Let breath and light rise again. Tell us about Ilario della Morte.
Martyrs. He fooled us both.
Elaborate.
You took what he wanted most in this world. More than coin, pleasure, family.
The title of First Talon.
Jealousy is a powerful motivator.
I thought he cared enough to grant me a quick death. Why imprison me and risk everything?
An improvisation on this one's part. You had too much potential to die so young.
And Katerina? Did Ilario hire you to kill her?
No.
Ilario used blood magic to control spite. How? He's not a mage.
Our risen god gives many gifts.
Elganon? Ilario's working with Elganon.
Her spirit strong. Haste would be appreciated.
Let her go. We've heard enough.
Well, that was pretty damning.
Ilario has much to answer for.
In blood, if nothing else.
What are you going to do?
Take away everything from him.
I can't believe you're asking for a favor as though nothing's happened.
What crapped in your bed?
Sorry. Didn't know you two were in the middle
Rook!
of...
Excellent. Come in. We could use a second sober voice.
I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
It's a figure of speech.
Taash?
I didn't do anything.
Oh, come now.
I need one of these little needle things to dig some crap out of my armor. Death Mage won't give me one.
First, a bone threader is an extremely delicate instrument. Second, it's Emmrich. Taash. My name is Emmrich, not Death Mage, not Corpse Guy, not... I won't repeat the rest.
What? You are a Death Mage.
Why are all my attempts to converse with you met with scorn? What have I done to you, Taash?
You talk about corpses too much.
It's a rich topic.
No, corpses are messed up. They used to have people in them. You make a move like they're alive, but they smell wrong and they move wrong, and none of it is okay.
Oh.
Especially the ones with skin still on them.
So what I'm hearing is, Taash isn't into terrifying dark magic.
It's not all terrifying.
And Emmrich would appreciate not being bullied and called names.
Ugh. Fine.
I'd no idea necromancy upset you so deeply, Taash. Quite honestly, I didn't think you feared anything.
I don't. But I could have said it was bugging me. I didn't think you cared what I thought.
Of course I do. We're colleagues on this journey.
Okay. Sorry I called you a liker. Skull liker.
You two could still learn things together you'd never find out alone. Emmrich, you clearly find talking about dragons boring.
What? How? Who doesn't like dragons?
Aren't you curious why Taash likes them as much as you like necromancy?
The question crossed my mind.
And maybe Emmrich could help demystify magic, Taash.
Maybe he could share a little, so I know how to deal with walking corpses next time I'm in an old ruin.
I'd be happy to.
Thought you might be.
Do you remember, Rook, when I mentioned another ceremony I must perform at the Memorial Gardens? The time has come. I was hoping you would accompany me again.
More grave lighting?
No, this would be a more personal visit, whenever you've time. Now, what do you have to say for yourself?
Did I miss something?
Since we're here to gather flowers for the dead, I thought I'd teach Manfred some plant names. But I just caught him attempting to wade into a rose bush.
That must have been frustrating.
He knows he's not supposed to play in the horticulture. Oh, Manfred. Whatever will happen to you if I pass on?
If?
There's something I'd like to talk about. Do you know what a lich is, Rook?
Lich. That's Old Davrin for corpse, isn't it?
A lich is a mage transformed into one of the undead while retaining their true, original consciousness. The idea fascinated me when I was younger. For years, I researched and experimented, spoke with spirits and mages. Then, eventually, I found them.
Who?
The Lich Lords of the Grand Necropolis. Necromancers before me who'd transformed themselves into true living dead.
Well, not everyone gets to meet their idols.
Oh, but I was nervous. The Liches are the great protectors of the necropolis, bulwarks against forces that threaten creation. After years of tests and rituals, they granted me my desire, the right to attempt lichdom.
Hold on. If you become a lich, then all this flirting we've been doing...
I should hate to lose your company while I'm still mortal.
What would you being a lich be like?
A vast leap. Flesh cast aside for bone, returned immortal for all time.
And you'd be a powerful undead mage with secrets beyond mortal understanding?
A cherished desire.
That's perfect.
Oh, I'd inform you before making any decisions to... questions of lichdom are... Lichdom is an incredible honor. Immortality, prestige, the most hallowed ranks of the Watchers, as well as a chance to be of service past my allotted years. But there are considerations. Come, we have flowers to gather for the dead.
Okay, but I've got questions.
Blue creepvine. This will do nicely.
Emmrich, aren't most undead just random spirits inside corpses?
Liches are different. It wouldn't be a spirit acting in my name. My true consciousness would be housed in my departed flesh.
How?
The Order must keep some secrets. Moon blossoms, famed in verse and song.
Smells like perfume. Do liches have a sense of smell?
I've been told that while some of my senses will dull, others will become available. Other than that, I can't say if the flowers would still hold their bloom for me. Lichdom serves a purpose. There are dark things in creation, threats to both our world and the Fade. The Liches of the Necropolis have the insight and the abilities to oppose them.
And you're joining them when?
Certain elements have held me back. There's no ready instructions for Lichdom. The steps must be discovered on one's own over years to be fully understood.
Does the spell to become a Lich kill you, or do you have to...
No, mercifully, that falls to another Watcher. After my death, my soul will be drawn back into my body instead of moving on to whatever lies beyond.
So, what's holding you back from Lichdom?
Even with all my preparations, there's a chance I could die permanently during the rites. What cowardice! A promise of immortality, an end to all my fears, and the final veil stays my hand.
If you want Lichdom that badly, you have to go for it.
I always thought I'd find the courage when I grew older. Traditionally, candidates for Lichdom face one final sifting of the soul. If they avoid it, you saw my old colleague.
Hezenkos. She's a Lich.
A half-Lich, though that hasn't diminished her powers. Until I stop her plans, I won't possess the peace of mind for Lichdom. Why don't you select the next flowers, Rook?
Sure. So what's a half-Lich exactly?
Johanna attempted the rites of Lichdom and failed. Stuck in her in-between state, she is supremely dangerous, but can't learn any new magic.
No wonder Hezenkos was shouting so much.
Oh, she's always been that way.
What about the sifting of a soul that Hezenkos avoided?
The spirits of the Necropolis judge whether a candidate is worthy of the power and responsibility of Lichdom.
How'd she become a Lich without it?
I shared some knowledge when we were colleagues. She apparently put together more than I knew. It would be just like her to skip the rituals, the cleansings, the preparations of the soul.
For a Watcher, Hezenkos is pretty harsh on spirits.
We made allowances because of her discoveries. Too many. Spirits are not things to be disposed of.
You really care about them?
They're so susceptible to the world's whims, Rook. Some spirits are dangerous, but how quickly most respond to a bit of kindness or care, or simple attempt to understand. For all she's done, I can't condemn Johanna for attempting Lichdom. That freedom from mortality, that divorce from fear. And of course, time to read all of one's books.
Of course.
But how she's abused her abilities. Are my intentions enough to fare better?
Worrying's a good sign.
We have enough flowers. There's something I'd like to show you. Here we are.
Oh, so these flowers are for...
Yes. If you could place them on the graves, please.
In memory of Rupert and Eleonora Volkarin, they walk eternity hand in hand.
After I became a Watcher, I erected a proper shrine to my parents. When I come to talk, I like to think they listen. Well, don't be shy. Introduce yourself.
Rook, it's a pleasure. Do you remember your parents?
Some memories are bright. Others are akin to those dim early morning dreams one gets sometimes. Lately, I wondered what they'd think of our current course, the choices ahead.
Your Lichdom?
What would they have wanted me to be?
Happy with someone who cares for you.
shroud's kiss. I've always loved the legend around this flower. They say it grows on lovers' graves, and that one moves closer to the fade simply by inhaling its fragrance.
Is that true?
It is when I will it, my dear.
What else?
What a day of unexpected splendor. Rook, darling, I was thinking of spending an evening with just the two of us.
I'd like that.
Wonderful. I've made all the arrangements at the necropolis. We'll leave whenever you're ready. How did you find everything?
Best meal I've had in a graveyard.
One advantage of being senior staff is requisitioning the kitchen's better cooks.
You did that just for me?
I'd hoped the evening might impress. The amount of work on you worries me, Rook. Responsibility exacts a toll on the body.
Relax, I'm fine.
I do ask that you at least avoid putting pressure on that stiff left wrist.
It's a little stiff. Impressed you spotted it.
Well, I am familiar with the finer points of anatomy. It's good we made time for this. A couple should get to know one another in comfort.
Time to dig into our feelings?
I'd be delighted if the mood moves you.
Devastating charm aside, what do you like about me?
Apart from the compliment of your interest?
Come on.
Darling, it's gratifying a fresh-faced adventurer noticed me at all. And your spirit does charm, but there's also something quite indomitable about you, Rook. It inspires.
Oh, thanks. What's your favorite color?
Well, can I only choose one?
Let me guess. Black, green, yellow, but like a bone yellow.
Lilac.
Ah, of course you went to a flower.
It's such a pretty shade of purple. It brings thoughts of spring. And what's your favorite shade of color?
Rich purple. The kind you get with those really expensive dyes.
It's the color of royalty in some kingdoms.
Maybe I've got ambitions. Okay, so, Emmrich, I wanted to tell you something. You're my first... anything. I've never been with anyone romantically.
We can move slowly, and I'm glad you chose me.
It's been good so far.
Oh, excellent.
Anyway, should we enjoy the garden?
Certainly. They're wondering what we're up to. Wisps are ever attracted to the gardens.
Like you?
The Fade is close here. As are spirits I count as guides and friends. Beyond that... I feel there are mysteries past our comprehension. Something beyond the weft of magic or deepest fade. When I'm fortunate, I spy suggestions of them here.
You're so philosophical around flowers.
It's the purpose of the gardens, to lift our thoughts to something higher and finer than we are.
Like that?
Sometimes, my dear, I think you indulge me.
When I'm in the mood.
Emmrich, you and Rook visit the necropolis lately?
Yes, I've been showing Rook around.
That have anything to do with the fancy dinner menu Manfred showed me?
He took... of course, those gilded edges.
It's sweet. You and Rook have fun.
So you're with Rook now?
We're exploring the matter, yes.
Good. I hope you two do good stuff.
Thank you, Taash.
Just don't do corpse stuff in bed.
What?
No, sorry, you're right. It's not my stuff. Do corpse stuff in bed if you want to.
Thank you, Taash, for the sentiment.
Myrna, hello. I assume Volgoth's not far behind.
We have her, Rook. We have her. We know exactly what she's planning.
The professor asked us to research the artifact that came into the possession of Johanna Hezenkos.
She carries a gloaming lantern.
That bad as it sounds?
They were fashioned in ages past by unscrupulous necromancers. The lanterns steal and concentrate life.
Johanna could use it to leech life from hundreds at a time. An endless source of power.
A lantern that sucks the life out of people?
Their very souls. But we know where Johanna will be.
She has returned to Blackthorn Manor.
Hezenkos intends to hold a soiree.
That can't be her whole plan.
No, but I propose a small group infiltrate Johanna's lair while she's distracted and destroy her lantern.
Let's do it.
Vorgoth and I must return to the necropolis.
Hunt well.
If only we could make Johanna see reason.
You tried before. She seems stubborn.
Perhaps that's why she attained immortality, while I quake on the threshold. If I make my own bid for lichdom... Oh, it's no use pretending this hasn't stirred up that old dread of my own mortality.
You could also be having a normal reaction to facing danger every other day.
No, it shouldn't be this crushing, this prevalent. No. Johanna was never beset by these sort of fears.
Well, a little fear's healthy. You'll feel better once we crash her lair and destroy that lantern. Promise. Okay, so the plan is basically to sneak around, find Hezenkos' lantern, and smash it. That's quite a crowd over in the manor.
Johanna's gathering. If she's mingling there, we'll be spotted. Fortunately, we have someone who could pass as a servant.
Manfred, can you pour fancy wine and nod? Send him in.
Right, Manfred. You're to find Johanna's guests and help us gather information on where her workshop might be. We'll be watching in case anything occurs.
Something's going to occur.
Once we find and destroy Johanna's lantern, We'll end whatever she's planning. Hopefully before she introduces the lantern to her guests.
That should be enough time for Manfred to blend in as a servant.
Let's find a place inside to observe him, quietly.
Right. Let's find another way in.
Johanna's last guests must already be in attendance.
There's a lot of people here. Hezenkos must be planning to drain their souls with her lantern.
What'll she do with them?
Raise more undead, I'd wager. But no ordinary revival would require such a massive store of magic.
Sounds like the party's in that main hall where we confronted Hezenkos.
Perfect. We can watch Manfred discreetly from the balconies.
And see if Hezenkos has that lantern on her.
There's Manfred. And Johanna.
But no lantern.
Now, you were saying about a shrine in the manor.
Yes, a shrine revealed by a spectral tome, which, as an expert, I could read if our host ever lets me into the library.
An ancestral shrine? I could question the deceased there about the location of Johanna's lantern.
Well, if a book can lead us to the shrine, let's hit the library. The library's to the east, right? Where we closed Hezenkos' portal into the Fade.
What brought her all the way back here again?
Johanna must have a workshop hidden here. Likely where she's prepared whatever she plans to empower with this lantern. I'd expected Johanna to post more guards.
Maybe she didn't want to scare her guests. Let's see if we can find that book pointing to the ancestral shrine. What about this? That book just snarled at me.
Ah, there's our spectral tome. Well done.
It's not opening.
One must be delicate. That guest of Johanna's claimed to be an expert in spectral literature.
And was interested in the shrine. Let's have Manfred hand him the book, see what he says. Were you waiting for us? Manfred, take this tome to the man asking about the shrine, please.
Don't worry. We'll watch from the balcony.
What's this? The Spectral Guide to Blackthorn Manor? There now. I only want to look up one thing. Ah, there is an ancestral shrine in the northwest wing.
Perfect. Let's go to the shrine.
Yes, the deceased there should be most helpful in finding Johanna's lantern. This way to the shrine.
Didn't anyone here stop and ask why Hezenkos was throwing a party? Your old friend doesn't seem like the sociable type.
Many a mage's besetting flaw is unexamined curiosity, and Johanna does possess a certain showmanship. It was all too easy to be drawn into those grand plans of hers.
I don't need a front row seat to whatever she's planning for a lantern full of stolen spirits, thanks.
Oh, the shrine's locked.
We must find a... Manfred?
What's he got there? Is this a key to the shrine?
Excellent, Manfred. Oh my! A body from the House of the Verheims, prepared during the Storm Age.
You're adorable when you get excited about things like this.
Well, who wouldn't be, darling? Such a rare find.
Time to find Hezenkos. He's all yours, Emmrich.
By flame and seal, by light and flood, open your eyes once more.
Who dares disturb?
Friends to the dead.
Friends, this one was abandoned, lost.
Emmrich, it's getting noisy.
He's unusually obstinate. Speak! Where is Hezenkos?
Prove
yourselves. What claim have you to the deceased? A willing dead companion. This one concedes. Hezenkos makes a thing that should not be. Red tapestry. Look there.
Rook, did you hear that? Manfred just...
I know. Also, we should move.
Oh, he can talk. Manfred, say something else. Come now, you just spoke.
We have to go.
Yes, yes.
More undead.
Hammer's work. We're on the right track.
All right. Where's that red tapestry? This wall looks... Secret door.
Manfred, could you please squeeze through and open the door from the other side? Yes! Aha! I knew I didn't imagine him speaking.
How can Manfred talk now?
He began as a wisp that embodied what most wisps do, curiosity. I knew he was learning quickly outside the necropolis, but this level of complexity is remarkable.
Hassan's enough racket for me.
It's a truly incredible achievement, Davrin. Good work, Manfred.
Hope this leads to where Hezenkos is keeping that lantern.
I can only imagine what she's planning to use it for. This must lead to Johanna's workshop.
What's that through the wall?
Oh my word!
That's big.
I thought you and your little friends might worm your way into my party, Volkarin.
Johanna, even half Lich, you can't control something this massive.
That glow on the skeleton up there? That's Hezenkos' lantern.
She's going to use the life stored in it to reanimate that monstrosity. Quickly, we must reach the lantern.
I'm seeing why Hezenkos failed that Lich morality test.
We must make haste to that lantern. Unbelievable! Johanna's stolen a chamber from the Grand Necropolis and transposed it under Blackthorn Manor.
That's like stealing Weishaupt.
The Necropolis's wards here are still intact. No wonder we couldn't sense what she's been creating. Oh, I wish Manfred had stayed above.
You'll be fine. We'll handle this.
Manfred, there you are.
And can you release that ladder?
Thank you, Manfred. Now find somewhere safe.
There's the lantern. You gonna free the spirits inside?
We must, before we can destroy it.
Like back when you were freeing those spirits Hezenkos trapped in the manor? That took a lot out of you.
I must try, Rook.
Emmrich?
There are too many trapped spirits. I'm sorry. I can't. Another lash of power might end me.
What's that, Volkarin? Afraid to chance death for your precious spirits? For all your fine words on the subject, only I had the courage to risk my life for our art.
He's still got twice your backbone.
I see Volkarin somehow did net himself a paramour.
Johanna! Listen to me! You're right! I've never overcome fear of that final dark. I miss having a friend that could.
Yes. Always the idealist.
I'm sorry Lichdom failed you. I swear I would have helped you had you come to me. But puppeting this creature...
Puppet? Puppet? Do you think I'm staying a failed lich? I won't command my greatest creation! I will become it! Good to see you, friends. Scoffing colleagues, interfering Templars, inept rivals. You all have a place in my heart. And tonight you will fuel my ascension at the cost of your miserable lives.
Move!
You think you can stop me? Once I get rid of you, I will merge with my greatest work and conquer this city!
Emmrich, can she do that?
Yes! She's attempting full possession with the life of the people here!
We need to stop Hesenkos long enough to destroy that lantern.
With that much life inside it, the backlash could...
We don't have a choice.
Once I destroy you wretches, my union with my creation will be complete! I can't believe you brought your ridiculous pet skeleton with you!
His name is Manfred! That one...
I'll crush you myself if I must. It's touching that you brought your new friends to die with you, Volkarin. I'll be sure to bury you and your new lover in the same tomb!
This isn't working. We can't break the lantern.
You think I'd leave myself vulnerable to you? Enough playing! Your pointless lives will fuel my triumph!
I can't breathe.
She's draining life from us. We must find shelter.
Right. Can't free the spirits in that lantern?
It might kill me and not even work. No living thing can approach it and... Manfred! Come back!
Any last words, Volkarin, before I... You miserable little...
Manfred!
Kick her ass, Emmrich.
By the spirits bound here, night and shadow, light and blood.
What are you doing?
Let your chains loosen. Let the fade draw close.
You'll never succeed, you old fool!
I release you to the air.
No! You small-minded...
Emmrich, how's Manfred holding together? Oh.
We must go to the necropolis. His body could only take so much. But I underestimated him, Rook. What bravery in the heart of the dead. And how he grew. Manfred disobeyed me beautifully. He was his own soul at the end.
Can you bring him back?
I will ask.
Emmrich Volkarin. You were not expected so soon.
So, handshakes now, or...?
Not quite yet. My lord, I come regarding Manfred, my fallen companion.
Yes, there are ways to return his spirit. But should you do this, Lichdom falls from your grasp.
What? Why?
Lichdom is long. If I'm to stand outside death, I must make peace with others passing through it.
What would we otherwise become? How many exceptions till tyranny? Revive him and remain mortal. Or let him slumber and join us.
Emmrich.
Manfred chose to help us. Am I too weak to accept his well-earned rest? I yearn for Lichdom, Rook. That leap into something greater, that everlasting light. Do I revive him and live out my days? Or do I honor death by letting him rest and protect this world through immortality?
Mortality's a hard price, but you'd miss Manfred.
Oh, of course I would. But a watcher should be more accepting of loss, of grief, of his own death in turn.
You're braver than you know, Emmrich. You've always risked your life. Against Hezenkos, against the gods.
Death's abyss always recedes with someone to brave it for.
I think facing a lot of things would be easier if Manfred was back.
Oh, he was fearless. He has so much potential, Rook. So far to grow.
Then help him do it.
You're absolutely right. I'll need your help. Rest easy, Manfred.
I should check on Emmrich and see if he's ready to bring back Manfred.
I've made my preparations, Rook. Will you help me restore Manfred to the world of the living?
I'll do whatever I can.
Thank you. We must go to the necropolis once you're ready.
Okay, Emmrich. How's this work?
We'll need assistance finding Manfred's wisp and drawing it back into his body. By pact and pledge, I seek an audience. By light and breath, let wisdom come. You've met these spirits before, but I've never properly introduced you. Rook, allow me to present two Necropolis guardians, the keepsake of ages and far-sighted curio.
Thank you both very much for helping with Manfred.
How polite. How fine.
Good manners in mortal kind, beyond the spirit callers at last.
Friends, my assistant, my ward, Manfred, sacrificed himself to save us.
We'd heard you'd abandoned Lichdom to bring him back. Your work, your dreams.
You paid the price. But it seems there are many flickers of curiosity in the Fade.
And only one you seek. Draw his wisp near. Speak.
Can I help?
Yes, please. Think of Manfred. Tell me something you felt about him. Concentrate.
He was always excited to be around you, Emmrich. If spirits can learn to love, he loved you.
In the sea of the Fade, there are wakes left by our passing. Our desires, our fears. I leave this beacon for you, Manfred. Follow my voice. Return to me, please. Manfred?
It worked.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful indeed.
Thanks for stitching that seam on my coat, Fred. It was coming loose. And nice new threads yourself.
Thank you. Yes, we needed something to mark him as an apprentice around the necropolis.
It's a good fit. See you around.
Yes!
Oh, you know what to call me. Okay, bring it down now.
He's excited for his training. Manfred's spellcraft is coming along nicely, more or less. Some undead have the potential to cast magic. I believe his was unlocked by his journey through the Fade.
Ah, what was that like?
Dunno. You mean you don't know? Dunno. We must work on that enunciation. Why don't you fetch the primer?
Ah, there goes our magic-flinging skeleton son.
I wouldn't go so far. Certainly I've a responsibility to educate him, and he'll need moral guidance. Most spirits do. But did you know, yesterday he said the most amusing thing while...
He's got your eyes.
As he grows, Manfred will better learn to take care of himself. I won't worry so much when I pass on.
How do you feel about that last part?
I have moments of regret for what Lichdom might have been. But none would make me exchange this for anything.
I'll talk to Emmrich before we go. See how he's doing.
Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. The eve before we kill a god, my thoughts turn to mortality and what we are to each other.
All right.
Even under the best circumstances, you will outlive me, Rook. You've grown to mean much to me, and I care for you, Rook. Deeply. But there are such years between us, I shouldn't heap you with that burden.
You're breaking my heart by worrying.
Darling, I only wish to be fair to you.
I know what I'm getting into.
At your age?
Oh, don't start.
We must consider this.
You're overthinking it, and it's not the time.
One of us needs to consider my mortality.
Because you're worried about me or insecure about you? Look, let's pack. Eat before we face a god, right?
As you say. Don't start.
Why does Emmrich have to... I mean, I know he's just...
Rook, darling, I wanted to say...
Yeah, about that argument.
It's no time to apologize, is it?
We'll talk back home, Emmrich. I promise.
This way. It's thinner here.
Better be right.
There! A light!
We've got something. Get ready.
Hey! Rook, dearest, please trust me. I must take you to the necropolis before we confront Elganon.
I trust you, Emmrich.
Thank you, darling.
Did we have to risk visiting the necropolis?
I needed its subtler enchantments to detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
I'm fine, Emmrich. It's all over.
Only because you had the presence of mind to push forward. If things had gone differently...
I still wouldn't have let them keep us apart.
My love, you are the most remarkable person I've ever known.
I did have someone to come back to.
Rook? I was going to fetch some breakfast. Would you like anything? Come again?
What time is it?
It's nearly dawn. I've been up for an hour.
Of course you're an early riser.
I like to take my exercise in the morning.
That's nice. Peaceful down here. You could almost pretend nothing's wrong up top.
When I'm with you, it feels as if there isn't.
That's sweet.
I do mean it. Whatever's in store for us, together, my darling. That's how we'll face it.
I know. Thank you all for coming. If we don't stop Elganon today, our world is either dead or blighted. So we keep fighting until the job is done. It's gonna be hard. There's no guarantee any of us will make it.
We're with you, Rook.
Elganon dies today.
Whatever it takes.
Strife, news?
Our scouts confirm Elganon is inside the Archon's palace. There's a giant tendril of blight tethering it to the Divine's manor in Hightown.
Then that's our goal. Breach the city walls and get to that tendril. Emmrich, can we count on Mourn Watch support?
The Watchers, living and otherwise, will stand with us.
Every remaining Grey Warden will be there too.
The Antivan crows are ready to pay their respects.
And the Lords of Fortune will be there. For gold and glory.
The Veil Jumpers have been in this since the beginning, and will be there for the end.
Solus is our first target. Without his dagger, we can't kill Elganon.
Our scouts last spotted him working with the Shadow Dragons in the western section of Hightown.
Okay, we go in through Hightown.
How? Minrathous was built to fight off an army, even before Elganon reinforced the defenses. Every gate will be guarded.
Worse than that. Our scouts reported that the Venatori sealed all the gates with those damn warding crystals.
Can the Veil Jumpers disable them?
Venatori magic won't be a problem.
It's still likely to take time. You may need assistance or someone to protect you while you unravel the wards.
Emmrich, I want you helping the Veil Jumpers.
Of course.
The Venatori at that gate will be commanded by a war mage. That's how they usually operate.
If we get rid of the commander, the rest of the Venatori will scatter. Can the crows cut the head off the snake?
Contract accepted.
There's gonna be a lot of guards between you and her. The Lords can clear you a path.
And one of us should be there as well.
Emmrich, you're with the crows.
Certainly.
One last thing might give the crows some trouble. There's a massive construct tall enough to crush buildings. It's guarding the main gate.
A juggernaut. Giant siege constructs built to withstand the Anton, or anyone else who came calling.
We're gonna need our heaviest forces against that juggernaut. Evka?
The Grey Wardens have fought ogres and archdemons. We can handle this.
The Mourn Watch will lend aid, but against something as large as this juggernaut, we'll require further assistance. Rook?
Emmrich, you're with the Wardens.
I shall help my fellow Watchers.
Emmrich. Harding, you're with me. We make a run at the gate, get inside, and find Solus. The rest of you get to the Blight Tendril. Once we've got the dagger, we'll meet you there. And take the fight to Elganon. I believe in this team, in all of us. So let's get it done. We go on my signal. For a world free of the Blight! Fire!
Watch out!
Destroy this filth!
hoarding crystals! Over there! Let's go!
Focus on the wards!
To the gate!
Nearly there!
Come on, come on!
Cuffus! Retreat!
I'm coming for you! After her!
Rook, come on!
It was close at the gate, but we're getting through.
They fought hard to get us inside. It falls to us to carry on. Rook!
Well fought, Emmrich.
Good job, both of you.
Happy to help. But there's no time to waste. Taya and I shall rendezvous with the other crows and assist in the fight for the city. You must follow Solus.
We spotted him.
He's not far ahead. That way, quickly.
Stay with Tarquin. I'm going to talk to Solus.
Victory is within our grasp, yet too many good souls have perished along the way. Our allies came when we called. I'd hoped to see them all again, to laud their bravery in person. Oh, we must set grief aside, to honor these sacrifices and stop the gods at last.
We've already killed an archdemon and a god. We can do it again.
While Elganon's magic is fearsome, Solus is our true adversary. He is, however, a former spirit. As such, Solus cannot help but listen to appeals to his nature, his yearning for reflection.
I could try talking him down once I find him.
We should depart soon, dearest. How I wish we were already safely home together. I love you, my darling Rook.
I love you too, Emmrich.
Come what may, I will carry those words with me. I'd no idea we'd be drawn together when we first met. No man alive is more fortunate than I. Speak the word, Rook, and I shall stand by your side.
Well, Emmrich, don't say I never went anywhere nice with you in Minrathous.
I'm honored you have.
Room room's just ahead. Everybody ready?
There's nowhere I'd rather be, dearest.
You got us here. Now let's kick this god out of Minrathous for good.
At their heart, stories are about change.
A man seeing his ward become more than he could ever have imagined. There are stories of love.
But those stories aren't over.
His body could only take so much. But I underestimated him, Rook. What bravery in the heart of the dead. And how he grew. Manfred disobeyed me beautifully. He was his own soul at the end.
Can you bring him back?
I will ask.
Emmrich Volkarin. You were not expected so soon.
If I can do anything to help.
Thank you. But this must come from me. My lord, I come regarding Manfred, my fallen companion.
Yes, there are ways to return his spirit. But should you do this, Lichdom falls from your grasp.
What? Why?
Lichdom is long. If I'm to stand outside death, I must make peace with others passing through it.
What would we otherwise become? How many exceptions till tyranny? Revive him and remain mortal. Or let him slumber and join us.
Emmrich.
Manfred chose to help us. Am I too weak to accept his well-earned rest? I yearn for Lichdom, Rook. That leap into something greater, that everlasting light. Do I revive him and live out my days? Or do I honor death by letting him rest and protect this world through immortality?
Emmrich, Lichdom is your life's work, your dream.
I imagined I knew its price. If I haven't even the strength to accept Manfred's sacrifice, I would outlive you all, Rook.
Would you still remember us?
Always. Kept alive in Lichdom's immortal memory. Death's swift touch, held back for all time.
If you really want to go beyond death, I think you have what you need to let all of us rest.
And peace shall follow. You're right. After I make my farewells, I will undergo the last rites of Lichdom. And Rook, thank you.
Emmrich probably has to prepare before becoming a Lich. I should see how he's doing. Why is it so cold in here?
Greetings.
Rook, you remember Veilguard? We were discussing some preparations for my Lichdom.
I shall be with you until the end.
They sound supportive.
Veilguard is doing me a great favor.
Good. Not going to ask what, but good.
I've so much to do. Crafting a glamour, for example. After Lichdom, I'll need an illusion of my mortal appearance for polite company.
Good call.
I've told Harding about the ritual. I'll inform the others afterwards. But there's something I need to speak to you about as well, dearest.
Whatever you need, I'm here.
Where to begin? Lichdom is a transformation of body and soul. A change in how I sense and feel. And I will still feel, but...
What are you saying?
Rook, dearest, I'm becoming undead.
I know.
When we met, I never imagined you'd be interested in... Then after you were, How can we be together once I go into death?
Same as we are now.
I'm sorry?
Remember when we talked in the Memorial Gardens about how you might be undead one day? I know things will be different when you're a Lich. And weird. Maybe very weird. But I care about you, Emmrich. If you feel the same, we'll figure out the rest. Unless you think you'll be too busy with Lichdom for me.
Never.
What's this Lichdom rite actually like?
I must pass through the gates and meet the oldest forces in the necropolis. A final appraisal of my soul.
Hail the living! Emmrich Volkarin and his chosen witness, Rook, challenger of the gods, Volkarin's beloved.
Collect yourselves for the right.
I'm afraid this is as far as you're permitted. If anything should perchance go wrong, my dearest heart, you are the most magnificent thing to ever happen to me.
I love you.
I love you too, my darling. I am come to be judged by the dead.
Emmrich?
I see so much more clearly now. The deeper eddies of the Fade, the pulse of the necropolis. I have been through blood and darkness, and I have emerged into light.
I knew you'd come back to me.
Always, my love. Come walk the gardens with me. Thank you for coming, everyone. Please, bear with me. This will be rather difficult to explain. I may appear the same as always, as I stand before you, but I've recently undergone a ritual that...
I thought you'd have a skull face. Like a skeleton.
It must be his glamour. It's really something, Professor. I can't sense you're a lich at all.
How? But who told you?
That tall watcher in the cloak mentioned it.
Vorgoth? Ah, that. Chatterbox.
So, the lich stuff is true, and you crossed that line.
Can't stop gossip.
He stopped breathing. It was bound to make the rounds.
You needn't speak about me as if I'm not here.
Just tell me you'll keep your skin on.
That's not how it...
I should take notes.
You look, why don't we just start from the beginning?
Are you satisfied? Yes, I have entered lichdom, and I am not an abomination, or a demon, or a disconsolate spirit. I have become something more. And yet I am still fully possessed of myself.
So you are a skeleton. Got it.
Well, I'm not packing up Emmrich's 15,000 books and skulls, so...
Thank you, Rook. But please, allow me. I'd like to think some of us have become friends. I value that more than you might know. But I am changed, and I would never cause you distress by staying where I'm no longer welcomed.
You're no weirder than you were before.
You're still you, no matter what you look like.
You all... Really?
I think you'll be fine.
Okay, now, question time.
You'll never guess what I discovered when putting my affairs in order for lichdom. My first published work, a monograph on the vagaries of determining a body's time of death. Those illustrations. However did I believe I'd drawn the correct proportions of the human heart?
Hey, is being a lich fun?
It is a thing long dreamed of, an everlasting mystery to embrace.
Okay, good.
Now, where were we? I've wondered, Davrin. Of all our friends, you seemed the least fazed when I revealed I'd entered Lichdom.
Well, when I took the vow to be a warden, I had to sip darkspawn blood.
That's fascinating.
It's a know-your-enemy thing. Point is, it changed me. Death won't be the same for me as most people. And I accept that. Part of the greater good.
I see. There's nobility in that.
I think Lichdom's the same for you.
Lichdom suits Emmrich.
He wears the crown well.
Our congratulations again, Professor, on your successful metamorphosis.
I'd never have succeeded without you, my friends.
Do you wish for the return of your knife?
Yes. It belonged to my father, and yes.
It will be done.
Will we see you as often, Professor? Considering Lichdom's demands.
For a while, certainly. I'm still being welcomed by my new colleagues. Things seem to take time in their circles.
I'll talk to Emmrich before we go. See how he's doing.
Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. We face Gillenane soon. When we do, there's no reason you couldn't stay back a ways.
What?
I'll be far more difficult to kill. You needn't face her head on.
First, no. Second, what brought this on?
I can see the life course through you, my love. Like a thread of diamond flame. Yet, I will lose you to time, Rook. What if I can't bear that for eternity?
That's the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
What?
Remembering me forever?
I'm afraid I'll mourn you forever.
That's ridiculous.
Do you think so little of what I feel for you?
No.
Then you could act accordingly.
I'm not going to be afraid of dying just because you are.
Rook,
We should get ready. Have to leave soon. Why does Emmrich have to... I mean, I know he's just...
Rook, darling, I wanted to say...
Yeah, about that argument.
It's no time to apologize, is it?
We'll talk back home, Emmrich. I promise.
This way. It's thinner here.
Better be right.
They're waiting for you. Just take it one step at a time.
Goodbye, Varric. And thank you.
Rook! Looking forward to seeing how it turns out. I'd say good luck, but you don't need it. You already have everything you need.
There! A light!
We've got something. Get ready.
Hey! Rook, dearest, please trust me. I must take you to the necropolis before we confront Elganon.
I trust you, Emmrich.
Thank you, my love.
Why do you look mortal? I thought no one in the necropolis minds that you're a lich.
I didn't want to alarm any citizens sheltering down here from Elganon's vulgar display of power. And the necropolis's enchantments will help detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
I thought so too. It was... Oh, I don't know what that was.
A dream. A reflexive curse you overcame with your own reflection.
I'm still not sure how I got out, or how you all heard me.
There are things in the Fade we cannot circumscribe. I'm grateful it returned what's most dear to me. But you've been through so much these past days. You must need rest.
Emmrich? You know, you don't have to hide your face from me.
I will let nothing part us again, my love. Not in this, nor any other world. Rook? Are you awake? It's morning, my love.
Are you sure?
Far above, the stars have just given way to the sun.
I'm still getting used to you having new, senses.
I never expected to hear the stars whisper across the firmament.
I bet. It's so quiet.
The world waits above, but we have some time to tarry.
What should we do?
Whatever you desire.
You can see all these new things, Emmrich. Is there any way I can share that?
It's difficult for the living to dwell long where I am, my love. But, yes, for a little while.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Victory is within our grasp, yet too many good souls have perished along the way. Our allies came when we called. I'd hoped to see them all again, to laud their bravery in person. Oh, we must set grief aside, to honor these sacrifices and stop the gods at last.
Stay focused. If Elganon doesn't have any surprises, Solus will.
Of the two, the dread wolf frightens me most. He is, however, a former spirit. As such, Solus cannot help but listen to appeals to his nature, his yearning for reflection.
I could try talking him down once I find him.
We should depart soon, dearest. How I wish we were already safely home together. I love you, my darling Rook.
I can't imagine what my life would be like without you, Emmrich.
There's so much I'd like to say once this is past, to plan with you.
I'd like that.
I'd no idea we'd be drawn together when we first met. I shall treasure those memories into eternity. Come, my love, to battle together.
Throne room's just ahead. Everybody ready?
There's nowhere I'd rather be, dearest.
You got us here. Now let's kick this god out of Minrathous for good.
At their heart, stories are about change.
A man exploring worlds beyond mortal existence. There are stories of love.
But those stories aren't over.